Hela in this episode of what if Hela found 10 rings, and there's a lot of things that happened within her journey that where she was in Midgard. Towards the end, didn't really was solid here with how she was able to be guided throughout this episode, especially with Jaiyi and throughout the episode. That stuff with Wenwu, I really liked. However, there's something about him that is different, except one moment later in towards the end of the episode, which I'll get to once we get there. I'll mention that in a little bit. It has to do with Jiayi. In the film Shang-Chi, he has the rings, and then eventually he would meet Jiayi. However, he's not at this point yet. Similar to how Thor got banished from Asgard in the beginning of the Thor film, this happened to Hela. However, this happened way before Thor's time. This happened before Thor was born. And something about Hela here that you find captivating. When you watch the Ragnarok, you introduced to Hela, and you have a sense of who she is and what she wants. She wants to rule as God, and you learn why and all these things that made sense about the Thor Ragnarok film. However, here, it's fascinating how in these 30 minutes, I felt like I was more intrigued in this particular Hela than the other one. In this particular Hela, learned so much and was guided so well that made me actually like her more as a character. And similar to Odin, believing that he would see her worthy of the throne, I felt that as well. I feel like, yeah, she definitely earned that spot back in the throne, and I believe she understood herself really well here. And that's something that the other Hela wouldn't know of because of the guidance that Wenwu and Jaiyi individually has provided her with that type of support. Wenwu wants a alliance with Hela, which they eventually get to understanding the fact that that's a real possibility to understand, which does happen, and then they become allies throughout the cosmos, which is brilliantly amazing. That was surprising way they did that. Even though the 10 rings are very important for Wenwu and the way he uses it and why he has it, let's take away on the fact that for this episode at least, when it comes to Hela, viewing the 10 rings, it's just another weapon for her, and it just moves on and does other things. For example, if she really wanted the 10 rings, she could have spoke to Jaiyi and learn how to take over one day, or learn how to fight for it, and then learn how to use it, and then find a way to become worthy of the crown. She doesn't really think about taking over the 10 rings like that. She tries to run from the gods because she's not Wenwu, and then she left and she ended up in Tylo, which is where she meets Jaiyi, and then she wants to learn how to become worthy and of the crown. It's more so about her trying to find her way back to the crown. It doesn't really have much to do with the 10 rings. However, if they push this episode with the idea that Hela was really intrigued by the 10 rings and the guidance of Jaiyi, Hela will have learned how to fight against Wenwu to end up with the 10 rings and then master it later on, and then find her way worthy of the crown with the 10 rings. That would have been a different way of pushing this episode, and how Hela would have been with the 10 rings throughout her journey ever. That would have sounded more of what Hela found the 10 rings. The episode that we see here, Hela sees the rings. However, it is not really that important for her. She ends up taking of it as another weapon someone else has. And Odin does think of the 10 rings as something very powerful. He's only interested in it once he faces Hela and when Wenwu uses it to attack the guardian guards. Jaiyi throughout this episode guides Hela on patience and peace and how to become a great person within, to the point where Hela decided to really learn from her and really take her lessons within seriously to become someone who can be rewarded a crown. Doesn't say it, I want to be rewarded a crown or anything like that. Is that the crown is that the last thing she thinks about. It's more so about her as a fighter and her as a person, and that's something that those two incorporate each other within Hela being guided throughout this episode. The episode looked beautiful. They really made the character shine here. Both of them actually, I really knew a little bit about Jaiyi in the Shang-Chi film. However, here we know so much about her, which made me appreciate that character more. I feel like that really rubbed off towards Hela in a brilliant way too. For example, when I mentioned earlier in the review that I liked Hela here more than in the Ragnarok film when it comes to her wants and needs here. There's a lot of stuff about Hela here that we learned so much from because of how she ended up where she is within her path and journey throughout this episode that we have never thought of, especially that she's someone who's been banished. Hela is ready to face Odin, and she feels like a warrior, and I believe that within her, thanks to the guides of Wenwu and Jaiyi, she thinks about protecting the people who need protection, and also think about being at peace while fighting as well. And she wants to face Odin. Jaiyi tells her, if you fight Odin, it's just going to be only you. She's not going to join her army or anything like that, which Hela agrees on facing Odin without her. And once she walks out of the palace, Jaiyi smiles. That indicates that she guided her well, and she was meant to fight Odin. Then, after being trained by Jaiyi, and I really love how that little moment says so much about character development. Jaiyi believes that Hela is ready to do so much because in her mind she believes that Hela found peace, which she does. Had a beautiful aesthetic, the art style and the aesthetics was lovely and beautiful. The fight scenes and the way they had the characters fight was fun and exciting to see, and there was something about this that I really enjoyed how they approached the fighting styles here, because at the same time there's also story within those fights as well, which goes beyond the fight styles themselves. It's more so of the reasoning more than the action. I really saw that here. I really want more to understand their way of doing things here, where they would incorporate them into their future projects. The fact that Heimdall could see Hela because she was in Talo was very concerning for Odin, who he assumed the worst. He wanted to fight Wenwu because there's a possibility that maybe, perhaps, Odin would have thought that Wenwu would have had something to do with Hela disappearing, so he wanted to fight him, and also wants the Ten Rings because they're unnatural to humans. So Wenwu uses the Ten Rings to fight the Asgardian gods. Hela and Wenwu were fighting him, and they're trying to take Odin's staff away, and thanks to Jaiyi training Hela on how to fight, she was able to face off Odin really well, and also on a side note, having Wenwu using the 10 minutes to help her, and there's a lot of stuff that Odin and Hela were trying to deal with within the fight, and also Hela was trying to get the staff away from Odin, and there's a lot of stuff that happened within the episode, within this fight that worked so well. I really liked how they approached that. She wants to fight Odin also to protect people, which Wenwu agrees with her based on what he told her earlier in the episode. However, there's something that Jaiyi taught Hela that Wenwu agreed with, and him agreeing with her was interesting to me because it's as if he also knew Jiayi, which isn't the case since this is before he met her. So that was a little part that was odd when it comes to Wenwu ever. At the same time, I understand why Wenwu agrees with her based on what he told her in the beginning of the episode about protecting people and a bunch of unknown forces that Wenwu wants to defend the innocent from, as well as something that was interesting how they approached that scene. That little moment there was something that I was thinking about after the episode ended. Hela becomes with the crown. She becomes the goddess of life and the life or light, something along those lines. She has the staff that Odin had when Odin was fighting Hela. He wanted her to go home so they could join forces and face Wenwu together and take over the 10 Rings. However, Hela disobeyed him, and she ended up being worthy of the crown. She ended up being the goddess of life. She took Odin's staff, and there was something about during the fight where Odin seemed disappointed in her, and once she became worthy, I believe that throughout him fighting Hela and him wondering how Hela became the goddess of life, he was curious because he was acting as if he was a parent, wondering how Hela could be the way she is, and then it took him by surprise and beyond his expectations. Basically speaking, he was surprised on how she was worthy and curious on how she ended up being where she was on her path. When that Hela surprised me as well, and I was actually fascinated with her adventure and her journey here. I really love how they approach Hela, and I'm surprised how this episode turned out. I really love it. I love how we got to see different sides from these characters that we never thought of before, and that's something that I really enjoy. Let me know what you think about the guidance and training Jaiyi was able to do for Hela. What do you think about her not really being interested in the 10 Rings per se, and the fact that she was worthy of the crown? And do you believe that she was worthy of the crown? Let me know what you think, because I'm interested in knowing your thoughts on all this. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate all of you watching. I'll see you tomorrow for the next one. Bye.